Exciting new prepper pantry finds from Dollar Tree, coming right up. Hey guys, it's Jera with Wicked Prepared. Welcome to the channel. You know I love Dollar Tree, and I think it's safe to say many of you do too, because many of the most watched videos on our channel are Dollar Tree videos. Love it or hate it, Dollar Tree can be a good place to find some great deals on prepper pantry items and basic gear. Every time you go into Dollar Tree, you're going to find something new. And I've been so busy, I hadn't had a chance to browse through my local store in quite a while. So I had a feeling I'd find some great new items, and boy, I sure did. Most items at Dollar Tree are now $1.25, and they also have items of varying prices up to $5 or even more, so you do need to pay close attention to what you're picking up these days. For this video, I tried to stick with the $1.25 items for the most part. All these items are new, or at least new to me in my area. Let's jump in and see what I found. When I'm done, I'll try out a few of these new items and let you know what we think of them. I'm going to begin right over here on this side. So first I've got these couple little packets of seafood things. These are kind of like the tuna pouches or the salmon pouches, but these are imitation crab meat in brine and smoked oysters in oil. Now I had seen this imitation crab meat for a little while and I didn't buy it because I actually found it first at Save-A-Lot. I was really excited because I do love imitation crab meat, and finding it shelf stable was really exciting to me, but I had bought some at Save-A-Lot and it was not good at all. It was not good. So when I saw it at Dollar Tree, I didn't jump. But this, it looks like it might be a different brand. So I thought I'd grab it and just give it one more try, see what it's like. It's probably not going to be good, but we will see. Smoked oysters, I don't even know. This was just interesting to me in the little packet. This could be a good snack to throw in your bug out bag if you like this. I am not sure about this one either, but I thought it was worth a try. Of course, seafood is always a healthy choice to have in your prepper pantry. And then here I found a couple of, here is an apple cider vinegar. This is a new brand. I've never seen this before at my Dollar Tree. And they actually also had a raw apple cider vinegar, which I thought was really exciting. This is with the mother. So this is a more preferable kind of vinegar. That's why it's in a smaller bottle. This has the health benefits if you're going to use it for health benefits. This says it is 5%. I saw it on here somewhere. But it's very light in color. So I don't know how it's going to be, but it's a pretty good deal for finding it at Dollar Tree if it's any good. So we'll see. This sauerkraut, I was pretty excited about this. I actually saw this there a while ago for the first time, but I wasn't sure if I'd be able to find it consistently or if it was going to be a one time and gone. So I didn't want to bring it to my viewers if it was not going to be able to be found, but I have been seeing it consistently. So I am excited about this. This is a good brand. This is good sauerkraut. It's of course not going to have the benefits of a raw fermented sauerkraut because it is preserved, but it's a good food to have on hand. Back here, I've got this bottle of alkaline water with minerals and electrolytes added. So this is something I've been seeing some brands of this alkaline water with the electrolytes at Dollar Tree recently. Never used to see these. There was quite a few different brands at my store. I chose this one just because it was the largest bottle, a half a gallon, and they're all the same price, and they all had pretty much the same benefits. So having, we all want to have water stored, so having some that has the extra electrolytes and minerals would probably be a good thing. In bottles like this, you're going to want to keep this rotated. Make sure that within every year or so, you are using it up and replacing it. Now, these I was really excited to find. So this is a pasta sauce in glass jars. So Dollar Tree has traditionally carried the Hunt's pasta sauce in the metal cans, which I will use in a pinch, but it's not very good. It's not our favorite. It needs a lot of doctoring up or to be used as part of a recipe. So to find, hopefully this is going to be a little bit better quality pasta sauces. They had two flavors, traditional and tomato basil. I think this is only a 16-ounce jar. You can see that it's smaller than your typical spaghetti sauce jar. Dollar Tree has started carrying regular size jars of ragu and things like that, but they are more expensive. I believe they're the $3.25 items. So to find these for $1.25, it's definitely worth trying, and I'm hoping that they're going to be good. It can actually be a benefit to have things in smaller containers when you're shopping for your prepper pantry, because you probably aren't going to have refrigeration. So you're not going to want to have leftovers that you would typically have to put in the refrigerator. Next, I found these large ramen bowls and lots of different flavors that I had not ever seen before. So this is just a typical ramen, like your typical chicken ramen. It's a large bowl compared to the cups that they typically sell. One thing I did notice, so if you were like a hungry person, like a typical ramen cup might not be enough for a really hungry man or something. So one thing I did notice though, this is $1.25 for this one bowl. And if you look, it's 420 calories in this bowl. The other item they sell at Dollar Tree is this 3-pack of the regular typical noodle cups. And if you look at this, this has 290 calories per cup. So in these 3 cups, you're actually going to get more food. It's a little bit more expensive. This is a $1.50 item compared to this large bowl being $1.25. I still think you get more food for your buck in this pack, even if you are hungry and you end up eating 2 of the cups. But this was still an interesting find. And then these flavors were all very different. So this was a roasted pork tonkatsu ramen. I don't know how to say that. A chicken curry ramen, which sounds really good. Sriracha shrimp ramen. I feel like I would really like this. And then this was a hot and spicy chicken ramen. I picked this one up before I found the regular chicken because the people in my house that would typically want to eat the chicken ramen would be my kiddos, and they may not want the hot and spicy. But I just was buying these to give them a try, see if they're worth picking up in the future. So I figured I'd try just about everyone I saw. Now, of course, we know ramen isn't exactly very healthy, but you can make it healthier, make it more of a meal. You can sprinkle in some freeze-dried vegetables. You can sprinkle in some freeze-dried meats. You can add in all sorts of different ramen toppings that have veggies and meats and seafood, lots of different things in there. You can turn it into something that's a lot more satisfying and a little more healthy than just your typical ramen noodle bowl. Now, here are a couple of single-serve breakfast items that I was sort of excited to find because they're shelf-stable and they are either ready to go or they just need some water. So this one is an oatmeal cup, but you can see it's pretty large. I don't know if you can tell how large that is compared to your typical oatmeal cup. And this is a protein oatmeal. Banana caramel sounds like it could be really delicious. It says it has 9 grams of protein. But if you look at the ingredients, it contains whole grain oats, banana. It does have sugar, milk and cream, sea salt, but these are all real ingredients. These are just simple real ingredients. Almonds, cashews, raisins, chia seeds, flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, and sunflower seeds. To me, this looks like a really healthy, hearty breakfast option. So I did want to give this one a try. And then I found these little cups. These are interesting. I had never seen anything like this before. So Yogo Blast. This is kind of obviously geared towards kids. It's not super large and it's got characters on it and it's fruity flavored and sugary, but it's basically a shelf-stable yogurt on the bottom, strawberry flavored, and then it has some cereal on the top that they would mix in and eat. So this would be a shelf-stable breakfast option, especially for kids, although an adult with a small appetite could eat this or could eat 2. It's always good to have some shelf-stable options just on hand. This is something you wouldn't have to heat. You wouldn't have to, use any water if you were in an emergency, the power was out. You just needed something quick to eat, or your kids did. It's not going to be the healthiest option, but it does have a little bit of protein and a little bit of calcium on account of the fact that it is a yogurt product. It does say somewhere that it is pasteurized after culturing, which would mean it's not going to have those live active cultures that a typical refrigerated yogurt would have. But I thought this would be interesting to try and maybe keep on hand for the kids. Next, I was really excited to find this. So this is a smoked Gouda premium mac and cheese. So this is the kind of mac and cheese that has these squeezy packets of cheese. So you don't have to add the milk and butter. So that's it's kind of like a plus and a minus. It's good that you don't have to add milk and butter, which are ingredients you may not have on hand. However, those packets don't tend to last as long as a powdered cheese mix. But I've had them last several years, so this is definitely something that would be worth having in your pantry if it tastes good. I'm really excited just to find this different flavor. I've never seen a smoked Gouda mac and cheese anywhere. So we are going to try this. This could be really easily made into some sort of heartier meals by adding in some canned meat or some freeze-dried meat, some vegetables, either canned or freeze-dried. This could really be made into something a little bit more fancy. And then the next thing I've got here, this was one of the few things I picked up that was not a food item. This I thought was kind of cool. Never seen anything like this before. It's a voice-controlled tabletop light. So this is rechargeable and just a little table light that you supposedly can control with your voice. I haven't tried it yet. What impressed me most about this is that it was in the $1.25 section. And I did check my receipt because I did I did pick up a few items that were $1.50 or $1.75 without even realizing it until after I checked out. I'm telling you, you got to be really careful in there. However, this was $1.25. So I thought if it actually does work, it would be kind of cool to have this little rechargeable light, but also the fact that you could have it set somewhere and maybe just if the power's out and you don't have a light, you can use your voice to turn this on without having to stumble around. Next, I found these boxed couscous mixes. This I was very excited to find. I am a big fan of couscous mixes like this for the Prepper Pantry because all you really have to do is boil the water, stir this in, and cover it. You don't even have to cook it. Just set it in the boiling water for 5 minutes, and it's done. I have used other brands of these. I use the Near East brand, I think it is, and they are over $2.50 at Walmart for in roasted garlic and olive oil couscous mix from that brand. And they are a little less expensive if you can buy by the case on Amazon, but they're still over $2 that way. And not everyone has Amazon Prime or can order by the case. So to find this Prepper Pantry item will cook so quickly. We used to take mixes like this on hiking trips and stuff because you just did have to boil the water, stir it in, and it was done. You didn't have to cook it. They're usually pretty yummy, so I'm excited to try this one. Next, I found a bunch of interesting condiments and spices and things like that. So they had hot honey. I was really impressed to find this, and this is real honey, pure honey, because they recently started carrying this a honey like this that was pure honey, because the honey you would typically find at Dollar Tree was in the little bear bottle, and it was like a honey blend of corn syrup and honey. It was not pure honey, not real honey. It may have had a little bit of real honey in it, but it really was not a great item. So now they have real honey, and now they actually have this hot honey version, which I was really excited to find. I found this vinegar sea salt seasoning. So I thought this would be really interesting, and it could be a good ingredient for meals in a jar where I would use vinegar as an ingredient. And this was right at the Dollar Tree. So I was pretty excited to find this and be able to try this. I have never seen this anywhere. I found a horseradish sauce in this Madison Street brand, which I think is a new brand there. I love horseradish sauce. And so to be able to find if this is good, and comparable to what I would typically buy. This is an exciting thing to find at Dollar Tree. They had this little jar of crunchy chili onion topping stuff, which is kind of a trendy thing right now that people are putting on a lot of their food. So I thought this was really good to try. And it's honestly nice to be able to try things in a small jar, because if it's not something you like, or if it's something you can't use up quickly, you don't have a whole bunch sitting around just that you're going to end up throwing away. That's one benefit of Dollar Tree. And here's another example of this. This is a new salsa brand. I found this in mild and medium. This is a 7-ounce jar, so it's a little bit less than 1 cup of salsa. They used to sell paste, I think, in an 8-ounce jar. And that was a really good find, because that can be really valuable to have smaller containers for emergencies. Like I talked about, you might want salsa for a recipe or for some chips or for anything that you might need it for, but you might not want to have the rest of an open jar that you would need to refrigerate. So this can be really great. It's also good for meals in a bag when I want ingredients. If I have about a cup of salsa that I need for a recipe, this can be included. And then I found this. This might have been around for a while and I just hadn't tried it. This is a hazelnut cream with these milky stripes. We have tried a Nutella sort of brand that was at Dollar Tree, and we were not a fan of that. So hopefully this will be better. Spreads like this can be really good to have on hand, because you can put them onto crackers or anything like that in an emergency situation. These are shelf stable usually. I typically don't refrigerate something like this after opening, so they're good to have on hand. And this, I was extremely surprised and pleasantly surprised to find beef tallow at Dollar Tree. This is a new item for sure, and I thought this was pretty interesting. This says it's a women-owned brand. I don't know anything about how healthy this particular one is. However, it does look like it has the only ingredients are beef tallow. So that's this is a really good find for Dollar Tree. Now I've got some more items back here. So this is a Idahoan mashed potato cups, and it's a triple cheese. It's a Tapatio flavored. So that's obviously a brand of hot sauce. So this is an interesting flavor I've never seen. I've seen the individual cups. These are a good thing to have in your prepper pantry, especially if you're a single person or just a couple of empty nesters or something, because you might not want larger servings, and these just need some boiling water or even just hot water stirred in, and they will create something that you can eat that's going to be comforting and filling. I don't know how I felt about this flavor. but it is a triple cheese tapatio, so it's going to be like cheesy flavored with just a little bit of spiciness, I'm assuming. And some people love hot sauce and think it belongs on everything. So if you're one of those people, you would probably really like these mashed potatoes. And then there's this. I hadn't seen this particular one before. I've gotten these pouches of rice. One thing that's great about these pouches is that they are already cooked rice. They're typically meant to be microwaved, but I've used them in recipes. I've heated them in a pan. I've done all sorts of things. So you don't have to microwave these if you are in a power outage. They're already cooked, so you're not going to need water and you're not going to need a lot of fuel. You're just going to need enough to warm them up. And they do have all of these qualifications here on the side that a lot of people want to know. They are gluten-free. This is a brown rice with quinoa, so it's going to have a little bit more protein because quinoa is a good source of protein. There's more rice in here than there is quinoa, but if you compare this to the just plain brown rice that they sell at Dollar Tree, you can see that it is going to have some extra protein in here. And so I think that this would be a good thing to have for $1.25. You can serve something over this, some chili or some canned soup to stretch it and make it more filling. Lots of things you could do with this. This is a pretty new item. It's been around for a little while, but this is a garlic herb biscuit mix, which is basically a dupe of the Red Lobster Cheddar Bay biscuit mix. So that is pretty exciting. Now this calls for butter, water, and shredded cheese, but I believe the butter is put on the top of the biscuits with the seasonings. So I think you could kind of skip that part and just stir the seasonings right in. Water, of course, we love just to add water things for the prepper pantry. Shredded cheese, we do have freeze-dried cheese, so we could use the cheese, or we could just leave the cheese out and have it just be a garlic herb biscuit without the cheese. But these are going to be good to be part of a lot of different recipes and just a sort of a standalone thing that you could make with a meal in an emergency. You can definitely do skillet biscuits or cook them in a pan, things like that if you don't have an emergency oven. Here are a couple of risotto mixes that are fairly new to Dollar Tree, at least to my Dollar Trees. There's a Spanish seasoned risotto rice and a cheese flavored risotto rice. And once again, I like that these only require water, and they do have an option of butter, but you could use oil or tallow like we had over there instead of the butter, and it is optional. So this is just a add water, quick cooking meal for your prepper pantry. You can eat those by themselves, serve them alongside some canned meats and vegetables, or you could mix those things right into it and make it a complete meal. All right, over here I've got a couple more non-food items. These were from the first aid section. These are new, especially this one. I know I'd never seen this before. This might have been around for a little while, but I'm not sure though. I don't really remember seeing this. This is an instant hot pack, which is going to be great. It's just one, but for $1.25, this is a great addition to your first aid kit. And it could also function kind of like a large hand warmer or body warmer, which is really important for winter power outages. And then, of course, moist burn pads. So it's really important to have some first aid for burns in your first aid kit at home, probably in your car first aid kit, in your trauma kit, any type of kits like that you have, that you carry with you. These are going to be a really good item to have, something for burns. And now I've got some canned items over here. So let's take a look. Now, these I had seen for a while. These are not necessarily really new, but I hadn't tried them. Tomato, okra, and corn. I don't always see this blend, but I have seen it before there. But when I look at this, I always think of a recipe I used to make in college called Brunswick stew. And I do believe I'm going to have to dig out my recipe, but I think that's something that I could make with all shelf-stable ingredients. And I'll try to do it as a meal in a bag version, maybe even a Dollar Tree meal in a bag. So I picked up a couple of these to try. I've never seen this spinach, whether from this brand or from any brand. I've not seen canned spinach at my Dollar Trees before, so I was excited to find this. Spinach is a little bit more nutritious than some of the other vegetables that you would typically find in the canned vegetables. And when you're stocking your prepper pantry, you really want to look for the highest, most concentrated sources of nutrition that you can find. So this has a lot more vitamins and minerals than some of the other vegetables that you can stock. And then this was a different one I hadn't seen, seasoned green lima beans. So I don't know how this will be, but this would probably be a good side dish, something you could serve with some rice, even something like this to make a complete protein side dish, or stir in some meats. You could add these into soups, and they are seasoned, so they're going to add a little bit of seasoning to whatever dish you put them in. I thought this was a good find. Beans, of course, are very high in protein and fiber, so they're a really good item to have in the prepper pantry. And when you have canned beans as opposed to dry beans, you don't have to worry about water and time needed to cook them, which is actually really, they really need extensive cooking time and soaking in things when you cook dry beans. So it's much better to have them already cooked in a can. Here's a couple other items I'd never seen before that I was really excited about. So this is the Yellowstone brand of baked beans. So I'd never seen a Yellowstone brand at Dollar Tree. This is a good brand, and I'll bet you these baked beans are really good. I haven't tried them yet, but I think for $1.25, this is going to be a really good buy. And then this was something, petite diced fire roasted green tomatoes. And this is a good organic blend. So to find this at Dollar Tree, I thought was a really good find. I'm not really sure what I would put these in. So if you have any recipe suggestions for me to use these canned diced green tomatoes, I would love to have your recipe suggestions. But right here it says salsa verde, chicken chili, or green enchilada sauce. So there's some suggestions right there. But I just thought that this was a really good and interesting find at Dollar Tree, so I wanted to give it a try. Now here I found, these are beans. Of course, I found beans at Dollar Tree before, but this Founders Street brand is a brand that most of the things at Dollar Tree are now $1.25, and that's not a great deal for canned veggies and canned beans usually. So this brand you can usually get for $1 or maybe 75 cents for some of the vegetables, so they're a little bit less expensive. And actually, I have had trouble finding kidney beans at my Dollar Tree. Usually I cannot find kidney beans. I can only find like small red beans, I think they're called. They're not kidney beans. And I use kidney beans in a lot of dishes. So I was excited to find the dark red kidney beans, and I just wanted to try these $1 cans and see, how good they are, because we do use beans in a lot of recipes with our prepper pantry foods. Here are a couple more canned things. This actually isn't new. I have seen this at Dollar Tree for a long time. I just had never worked with it. So I guess this kind of got up here by mistake. I just bought this to work with for some recipes, for some Dollar Tree recipes, but this is a white cheese queso blanco. So that's something they've had for a long time. Let me know if you've tried this and if you like it. And then this red gold sloppy joe sauce. I had not seen this at Dollar Tree before, and I haven't tried this brand of sloppy joe sauce, but we do use sloppy joe sauce quite a bit in different meals. Sloppy joe casserole, other things like that. So this I thought was going to be worth trying from the Dollar Tree and see how it is. I'm kind of picky about my sloppy joe sauces. I like them a little sweeter, so some brands I end up adding a couple spoonfuls of brown sugar to, but they're pretty easy to doctor up if you don't like it. Here are some more things that I found. This is a coffee creamer packets, individual packets. Of course, it's a non-dairy powdered creamer, which isn't my favorite, but it is good to have on hand for emergencies. And being packets, this could be stashed in your car, stashed in a bug out bag, stashed in anything really. So that you always have some creamer if that's something that's important to you, which I don't love powdered creamer, but I like it better than I like black coffee. So I had found packets like this at Dollar General before, but I hadn't seen this at my Dollar Tree until just recently. So 24 packets for $1.25. I thought that was a pretty good thing to buy and try. And now I found a bunch of these drink mixes. So this is a brand and flavors I hadn't seen at Dollar Tree. They have a lot of drink mixes like this, of course. And this is just some new flavors, new brand. So they've got hydration or energy. So it's different formulas to choose from in different flavors. So the hydration are going to have electrolytes and B vitamins in them. So that's going to help if you are dehydrated, if you are, in an emergency. To add this to your water could really help with your well-being. And then, of course, the energy. Sometimes you're going to want a little bit of extra energy. These have caffeine and B vitamins. And you might need energy for lots of different reasons. Maybe you are trying to keep watch over your property and you're taking shifts. Maybe you are having to, trek home from somewhere that you've been stranded and you just need to just make it through the night and stay awake. Maybe you're just having a headache because you haven't had coffee and it's just easier to have caffeine from a cold drink than it is to make coffee. I'm a coffee girl. I'd rather have the coffee, but in an emergency, these could be a lifesaver. It's also good to have flavorings for your water, because if your water has been stored or if you've had to treat it, It can kind of have an off flavor or a taste from something you treated it with. So to be able to mask that can be really important. One more food item this is shelf stable little mini Jellos. I had never seen these before. I think they might have brought them out for back to school possibly, but it's a cute little treat, especially if you have kids or if you just want like a little sweet treat that you don't have to worry about cooking, and it's shelf stable. I just thought this was sort of an interesting thing to have. This could also be a good part of your sick kit. If you have a sick kit that you pull out if somebody's sick, and you didn't have time to go to the store, you have things on hand to help your sick kids or your sick family members. And then here are a couple more things. This is a Jergens lotion. This is not obviously new, but I've never seen this size bottle at Dollar Tree. I have ordered them from Amazon. My Walmart has Jergens in a 2-ounce bottle, which I like, but sometimes I want a smaller bottle because I want to stash it in a smaller place, a smaller kit or a smaller, bag, anything like that. So I was excited to find the 1-ounce bottles at the Dollar Tree. And then of course, this is some body and face wipes or face and body wipes. So these are by Power Stick, and this is a certain scent. I've never seen Power Stick wipes. Usually Dollar Tree has some brand of body wipes, but these are something new at mine. These can be really important when the power's out and it's not easy to take a shower and get clean every day. Maybe you have a way to take a shower in an emergency, but it's usually not an easy way. So just to be able to freshen up and keep yourself clean and a little bit unstinky can be really important. So these are also good to stash in your vehicle in case you're stranded somewhere for a day or two. Stash in your bug out bag if you need to, if you're concerned about keeping clean, if you're gone, have to leave your house for a few days. And this looks like it's going to smell good and be good, so I'm excited to try these. One thing I always recommend to people is don't go buy a whole bunch of something for your prepper pantry until you've tried it and make sure that you like it. So I'm actually going to try some of these items right now and let you guys know what we think of them, and then I'll know if I want to stock up on more as well. All right, so first we're going to try this yogurt cereal thingy. I've got a kiddo here who, if anybody's going to like this, it would be her. So I'm going to let her try this. Oh, it looks like it's pink. You can open up the cereal.
It's a lot of cereal.
Oh, it's a meal. All right,
It's a meal.
try it and see what you think.
I like it. It's really good.
Is it good?
It's like Frosted Flakes,
Yeah.
but strawberry.
Well, good. I'm glad you like that. That's good to know. That's a shelf-stable breakfast we can have on hand. So now we're going to try a couple of these ramen noodles. I've got my water heating in my kettle over here. And of course, these do have boiling water instructions, so they're perfect for emergencies. You just have to boil water. Don't have to cook these, microwave, or anything like that. Now, some of these say they have separate packets included. So if you don't want the spice, it might be a separate thing. I'm trying to keep these intact. I imagine you're supposed to cover them after you, close the lid. So this is the sriracha shrimp, and it has just the noodles, and it has sriracha sauce packet and a seasoning packet that comes separately. So if you don't like things quite as salty, you could always add part of the seasoning packet. So that's another plus. Yeah, so you can add however much of the seasoning and sauce that you want. So I'll leave the sriracha till the end. I guess I'll put the seasoning packet all in. It does have some little green veggie type of bits in there, so that's interesting. It does have a fill line on the outside right here. I don't know if you can see that. I'd rather have a fill line on the inside, but we'll see what we can do. I sometimes like a little less water. That looks like it's probably about right. And I usually put something over top to hold the lid on, so we'll do that. Let's look at the chicken curry, the curry chicken. This one we've got the noodles. There is a seasoning mix packet and a little, this must be chili oil. Separate chili oil packet if you like it spicy. That's actually really nice. And then if you don't use these, you can always save these to add into meals in a jar or meals in a bag, things like that. So I'm going to add the curry seasoning packet. And this one also has a fill line on the outside. Next, we'll try this tonkatsu ramen pork. Once again, it's got a separate chili packet. All right, now we'll just try this hot and spicy chicken. So this one's different. This one has its own little topping veggie packet and then its flavor packet. Nothing with spice, so the spicy must be in the flavoring. So if you don't like the spicy, you would want to pick up the regular bowl. But we shall see how spicy this actually is. Ooh, it actually looks and smells kind of spicy. Maybe the fill line's inside on this one. Oh yeah, the fill line is inside, which I much prefer. That's a lot easier. This first one might actually be done. Let's see. I can definitely take the lid off this now because I usually just keep the lid on until I'm sure they're somewhat started. And then, so this looks like the noodles are actually all done. And there is the ramen. I'm not going to put any additional toppings like I showed earlier in these because I just want to taste them as is and see how they are on their own. That was just a suggestion that you could do if you were actually having this for a meal, which we will be eating these. We don't like to waste food, but I'm just going to be tasting them to begin with. I'm going to let this cool a little bit though. So here is the chicken curry. Let's see, because this has gotten started, I can take the lid off. This one has a little bit of a creamier look to it. It smells really good. It smells like curry. I guess that would be the coconut milk. It said it has a coconut milk flavor, so that would be that creaminess that I see. All right, so let's see how this one is doing. Just needs a little stir. This one says it has miso flavors in it. I can definitely see that. It definitely kind of looks like miso-ish, like a light miso or white miso. Now let's take a look at this one. This is the spicy chicken. Look at those vegetables. I think that is a big plus. I wonder if the regular chicken one comes with the vegetables. All right, so I'm going to let these cool just a little bit and finish soaking. Then we'll give them all a try. All right, so we're ready to try the ramens. These have sat, so you can see they've soaked up a lot of the juice. They're not as hot. I like to wait until they're not super hot. My daughter is excited to try the curry chicken. Is that the one you want to try first?
Yeah,
we haven't put any of the spicy stuff on them. I think we'll try them without it first. And she is not interested in trying the pork because she doesn't eat pork. So I'm going to try this one. So go ahead and let's try these to start with. So I'm going to try the pork. She's trying the curry chicken. Well, this is really good.
This is really good.
You like the curry?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
I actually do really like it. It's
All
not
right,
too spicy. Like, it's not spicy.
No, it's not spicy. You could put the spicy on it if you wanted. That one came with, I don't remember what each one came with, though. That one came with a oil, right?
Yeah, that one came with one of these ones.
Okay. So that could go on if you wanted spicy. What do you want to try? The shrimp?
I'll try the shrimp.
I'll try the hot and spicy chicken. All right, let's try these. I'm trying spicy chicken. You're trying the sriracha shrimp.
Yep. Oh, that's spicy.
Yeah?
I mean, it's not too spicy.
This one's not too spicy, but the veggies are actually really good. This is pretty cool for Dollar Tree. You can see the bits of cabbage. Look at how that came back. Now I'm going to test out this smoked Gouda mac and cheese, which I'm really excited to try. I'm hoping this is going to be really good. I think it's going to be really good. I did want to just compare it real quick to this box of just Great Value Deluxe mac and cheese that I've just had in my pantry. And I noticed that the Deluxe from Great Value is 14 ounces. And then this smoked Gouda one is only about 8 ounces, even though the boxes are the same size. I did notice when I opened this up and I took out the cheese sauce packet, there's not actually very much macaroni in this box. You can see kind of how far down that is. It only goes to about there on the box. So this is a cheaper macaroni and cheese, but it's also doesn't contain as much food as your typical grocery store one. You can see that this one says about 2 servings per container. And this one says about 4 servings per container. I did notice that these Great Value ones are only about $1.50. So really, they're not even that much more expensive than the Dollar Tree ones. However, This is a smoked Gouda, so it's a little bit more fancy, maybe, perhaps, is what I'm thinking. And there are some artisan crafted versions on Walmart that are closer to $3, I believe. So if this is really good, it might not be that bad of a price for what it is. All right, here it is. I smell the smoked Gouda. It really does smell like smoked Gouda. The smell is pretty good. I can't wait to try this. We use our finest china tonight. This says it makes 2 servings. All right, I am ready to dig in and give this a try. That is pretty good. It definitely has that smoked Gouda taste. And sometimes I don't like the deluxe macaroni and cheese, like just the regular one with the orange cheese, because there's something about the cheese, that type of cheese sauce, that I just don't like. But this is actually pretty good. This is definitely good. This is definitely something that I would buy. Like I said, I'm going to have to take into account the price and the size of the package, but this is a really good sort of different thing to have in the prepper pantry. You do have to be careful with these because that cheese packet's not going to last a long, long time, but you can get a couple years out of it, no problem. I'll call this one a win. Next, I'm going to be trying this couscous mix, the roasted garlic and olive oil. I'm super excited about this because it is so fast cooking, perfect for emergencies, and hopefully it'll taste good. I did check this against a box of the Near East brand that I had in my pantry, and this is about the same amount of food. This is not giving you less for that price, so I think this is a really good deal. So I am just going to start by adding 1 1/4 cups of water into my pan. It says a tablespoon of olive oil or butter. I consider that to be optional. And so I'm not going to add it right now because I feel like that's something I might not add during emergency times. I know we never added that when we made these hiking and things like that. So I'm going to bring this to a really quick boil. And then it's just going to be a matter of stirring in the mix and letting it set for 5 minutes. I'll be ready to try. This is actually kind of nice. I just opened this up and the whole mix, everything is contained inside the box in this Mylar bag. So I don't think the Near East ones are like that. They're not. The couscous is loose. I think maybe the seasoning packet is in its own little bag, but this, everything is contained. So I like this. Actually, I like this a lot. I opened this up and it actually smells really, really good. I am so excited about this. All right, you can see this is coming to a boil. So I'm just going to stir this in. I'm turning the heat right off. I'm going to stir this in, cover it up, and let it set 5 minutes. And that's all there is to it. All right, 5 minutes is up. Let's see how it's looking. Now it says when you're done to fluff it with a fork. I am not even going to fluff it with a fork. Look at that. The water is all absorbed. It's just fluffy. So this is sort of, if you're not familiar with couscous, which I think probably most people are, but it's sort of like rice, but it's actually a little pasta, a little teeny pasta. So this could be a side dish. Look at how fluffy and beautiful that is. I'm going to taste it in just a minute. This would be a great side dish, although you could totally eat it by itself, and I'm sure it would fill you up. But you could also, like I said, kind of like with the ramen, you could sprinkle in some freeze-dried vegetables and a little bit of freeze-dried meat when you were preparing this. Just add a little extra water. You wouldn't even need a lot. And you could have this be a more complete meal. Or you could just serve it with some canned meat and some canned gravy on that, some vegetables. Right here it gives a little serving suggestion. So you can make it more delicious by adding drained canned chickpeas or cooked chicken. So you could take canned chickpeas to add a little protein to this, or some canned chicken. Both of those they have at the Dollar Tree. And that would make this into a more hearty and healthful meal. I'm just going to give this a try for taste because that's what we're really trying to check here. But see, this was, I mean, it took no time at all for me to boil that water. I didn't have to drain anything. Every bit of water we put in here was used. And 5 minutes after the water boiled, off the heat, and it was done. One of the reasons I really love this type of dish for the prepper pantry. All right, let's give it a try. That is super tasty. It tastes delicious. It's got plenty of flavor, just enough flavor. It's really delicious. This is definitely a winner. I'm going to be adding a lot more of these to our prepper pantry. One last thing I do want to try is this oatmeal, because this is pretty exciting. If this is good, I'd probably like to grab some more of these. I'm not a huge fan of banana flavor, and there were no other flavors that I saw at my Dollar Tree. If you've ever seen this at your Dollar Tree, let me know if you've seen other flavors. I am really excited about some of these ingredients, though, really pretty much all of these ingredients. So I do want to try this, and the caramel hint here makes me a little more excited about the flavor. I don't hate banana, it's just not my favorite. So it says here, empty the pouch of oats and flavor mix into the bowl, and then add boiling water to the line inside the bowl, mix for 10 seconds, and cover for 3 minutes, and then stir again. So it even comes with its own little spoon. Huh. Very good. So this is the banana caramel flavor mix. I think I'll use my spoon probably rather than this one, but it's good to know that in a pinch you have this. This must be the oats. So this has the oats and the seeds. You can see flax, chia, some of those other things. And here is the flavor mix, which looks like it may actually have pieces of banana. I'm not sure if those are pieces of banana or just clumps of seasoning, but I guess we'll find out when we add the water. Just give this a little pre-mix and break up if those are chunks or clumps. All right, my water's boiling, so I'm going to go ahead and add this to the line in the cup. Give it a stir. It does actually smell pretty good. And cover this up for 3 minutes. All right, it's been 3 minutes. Let's give this another stir like it tells us to. It's got pretty thick, so probably if you like it thinner, you could have put in a little bit more water than what I put in, but it actually looks good because I like mine thick. So you can see, I see a raisin there. It looks like they're golden raisins. I can see the chunks of the seeds and everything in there. So this actually looks and smells really good. I'm going to give this a try. This is actually really tasty. It tastes kind of like a banana bread, I guess. It's sweet. I like that. It's not an artificial banana flavor, which I think is what I was worried about. I don't really see, maybe there are chunks of banana. So I guess maybe those were some chunks of banana, but I'm not sure because I don't see any big chunks. So some of that melted out, but this is actually really tasty. I think this would be a really good thing to have in your pantry for emergencies or for not emergencies, just needing a quick breakfast, quick snack. It's, like I said, it's all pretty clean ingredients, really healthy ingredients. It's a decent size meal. 18 grams of fiber. Wow, that's really pretty good. 9 grams of protein. I think this is going to be a winner in my book. All right, just a little update on this light. I did open this up to try it out, and so it says USB-A powered, and I assumed that meant that it would be rechargeable, but it actually has to be plugged in to work. So yes, you could run this off of a power station, or you could run this off of a battery pack. I don't know for how long, but it's not quite as exciting as I thought when I thought that it was going to charge with the USB and just sit there without a power cord. So this actually does have an attached power cord. So that's a little disappointing, but I mean, for $1.25, it was worth a try. Well, that was a really successful bunch of taste testing. Honestly, out of everything we tried, there was nothing that was bad. These were all winners, and these were all things that I would stock up on more of for my prepper pantry, and I'm going to stock up on more of them. And I hope that you'll find some of these items and be able to try them as well. I didn't have time to try everything for this video, so if there's anything that you specifically want to see and want to get my review on, let me know, and I'll try to include that in an upcoming video. What are some of your favorite Dollar Tree finds? Dollar Tree may not be everyone's favorite store, but some people might be more limited in where they're able to shop, and other folks just like the simplicity and the ability to get in and out quickly. It is important to remember that Dollar Tree isn't always the best place to buy something. Just because it's at the Dollar Tree doesn't necessarily mean it's a good deal. There are plenty of items that can be found cheaper at other stores, so just remember to do your due diligence and shop with awareness. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, leave me a tree emoji down in the comments and check out this video next for some more Dollar Tree items I think you'll love. I'm Jera with Wicked Prepared. Survive today, thrive tomorrow. We'll see you next time.